My name is Daniel. I'm 34 years old, and I fix things for a living. I work as a field technician for a small company in the suburbs. I drive around, repair internet lines, replace routers, crawl into dusty attics. Nothing special, just normal life. At least that's what I thought. I live in a quiet American neighborhood, tree-lined streets, kids on bikes, people mowing their lawns on Sundays. The kind of place where nothing really happens, where you wave to your neighbors without even thinking about it. This is not a ghost story. There's nothing paranormal here. No demons, no curses, no shadows in the corner of my room. This is about my neighbor, the one everyone loved, the one who smiled at every barbecue, the one who for years was stealing children right under our noses. My days all look the same. Wake up at 6, coffee, quick shower, scroll my phone for 10 minutes longer than I should, then throw on my work shirt, grab my keys, and head out. Most of my job is driving from house to house. Internet's down, TV doesn't work, routers blinking red, people in pajamas, people working from home, kids screaming in the background. Everyone in a rush, everyone convinced their problem is the end of the world. I'm the guy who crawls into the crawl space, climbs the pole, or digs around in the attic until their little world goes back to normal. They say, "Thank you so much," and 10 minutes later, they don't remember my name. Maybe that's why I liked my street so much. It was one of the few places where things actually felt steady. Same cars, same houses, same people. The kids across the street playing basketball in the driveway. The old man on the corner who always swept his sidewalk twice. Mrs. Harris with her little dog that barked at literally everything. It was boring, and boring felt safe. About 5 years ago, a new truck started showing up on our street. Dark blue pickup, always clean. At first, I thought it belonged to a contractor or something, but then I saw the for sale sign come down on the house across from mine. That's how I met Mark. Early 40s, I think. Average height, average build, average everything. Short brown hair, clean shaven, glasses, jeans, work boots, flannel shirt. You could pass him in a grocery store 100 times and never remember his face. He came over the day he moved in. Big smile, firm handshake. "Hey man, I'm Mark. Just moved in across the street. If I'm ever blocking your driveway with the truck, just knock on my door, all right?" We talked for maybe 5 minutes. Where he worked, where I worked, how long I'd been in the neighborhood. He mentioned doing some stuff with logistics. It sounded boring, which made it believable. Over the next few months, he became part of the background. He helped Mrs. Harris carry groceries when her back went out. He fixed a loose fence panel for the family next door. He waved at the school bus every morning. He even brought homemade cookies to the yearly block party. Everyone liked him. The old lady said he was such a nice man. The dads liked talking about cars and home repairs with him. The kids liked his truck. He'd honk and wave when they waved at him. He was exactly what you'd picture if someone said, the perfect neighbor. And I was no different. We weren't close or anything. We didn't watch football together or hang out on weekends. But we were neighbor friendly. He'd ask me how work was. I'd complain about a rough day. He'd laugh and say, "Hey, at least you don't sit at a desk all day." There were tiny things, here and there. Moments that didn't feel like much at the time, like the way he always seemed to know more about the kids on the street than I did. He'd say things like, "You know, the Miller's boy started 4th grade already. Can you believe it?" Or, "Tommy from 2 houses down. He's got a birthday coming up, right?" Small talk, harmless. But sometimes I caught myself wondering how he kept track of all that. I remember one afternoon, I came home early from work. It was a warm day, sun still high. As I pulled up, I saw him standing on the sidewalk next to his truck, talking to a little boy I didn't recognize. The boy had a backpack on and a helmet in his hand, like he'd just gotten off his bike. Mark was crouched down a little to be at eye level with him, smiling, animated, like a friendly uncle. When my van pulled into the driveway, the kid looked over at me. His expression changed. like he remembered he had somewhere to be. He mumbled something and started walking away. I got out of the van, gave Mark a quick nod. "Friend of yours?" I asked. "Nah, just asking him if he'd seen a stray dog. Poor thing keeps running around here." He laughed. "Can't have it getting hit by a car, right?" It was a good answer, a normal answer. I didn't think much of it. And that's how it is with people like him. You never think much of it until it's too late. It was around 11:30 at night on a Wednesday. I'd fallen asleep on the couch with the TV on. Woke up thirsty, kitchen light on, street lights leaking through the blinds. I took the trash bag from under the sink, tied it up, and decided to take it outside. The air outside was cool. The street was quiet. No cars, no kids. As I rolled the trash can down my driveway, I noticed his house was still lit up. The garage light was on. That's when I heard it. A slow, heavy, dragging sound. Like something big being pulled across a concrete floor. I stopped and listened. The sound went on for a few seconds, then it stopped. The garage light turned off. I stared at that window a little too long. Nothing moved, no shadows, no voices, just darkness. I told myself it was nothing, tools, furniture, whatever. And I went inside. If I had trusted that feeling in my gut right then, things might have gone differently. But who wants to believe their neighbor is a monster? The second time, I couldn't brush it off. It was a brutal day at work. I didn't finish my last job until almost 9:30 p.m. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I was exhausted. That's when I saw him. Mark was in his driveway, behind his truck. The back of the truck was open. He was dragging something out of it. A long, dark sack. Thick, heavy. As he pulled, the middle of the bag sagged and wobbled in a way that made my stomach twist. There was weight there. Uneven, not solid. Before I could stop myself, I said, "Hey man, long night?" He froze, then slowly looked over his shoulder at me. "Daniel, hey buddy, yeah, you know how it is." He forced a laugh, too quick. "Late night dump run?" I asked. "Nah man, just hauling some old insulation and crap from the attic. Figured I'd load it now and hit the landfill this weekend. You know how it piles up." It sounded prepared, like he had that answer ready. I nodded and went inside. But from my window, I saw him dragging the sack toward the basement door. I thought about calling someone, but what was I going to say? I convinced myself it was nothing. 2 days later, I was on the couch again. The news mentioned a third missing child in the last 18 months. A boy, maybe 10. Then they showed 2 more faces, all missing from areas near where I work. I felt a cold weight in my chest. A week later, there was a knock at my door. A couple stood there, exhausted, holding a missing child flyer. Their son, the boy in the blue hoodie. They asked if I had seen him. I hadn't. I felt useless saying it. They asked if I had cameras outside. I said no, it's a safe neighborhood. They thanked me and crossed the street to Mark's house. He opened the door immediately, looked concerned, sad. But when the mother turned her head away for a moment, his expression slipped. His eyes went empty. Then the mask came back. After that, I noticed everything. How often he was outside at night. How fast his porch light went off when cars slowed down. How kids drifted near him when their parents weren't watching. One night, sirens filled the street. Police cars, an SUV, officers pounding on his door. He opened it, looking confused. They talked. He shook his head. They didn't believe him. Officers searched the house. Flashlights cut across the side of the house. Someone shouted, "Over here!" Everything changed. Minutes later, they brought him out in handcuffs. His face was empty, like he'd stopped pretending. The police stayed for hours. Crime scene tape, dogs, detectives. Rumors spread. They found things, terrible things. The real details came later. Evidence linking him to multiple missing children. from different towns. Some of the things found in his basement were too horrific to describe. That heavy sack I saw him dragging wasn't insulation. People like to believe they'd know. That evil looks a certain way. I lived across the street from him for years. We waved, we joked, we talked about work and weather. He helped old ladies with groceries. He also kidnapped children and dragged them into his basement. I keep replaying those small moments. The dragging sound, the way he stood too close to kids, the look in his eyes that day at the door. I had all the pieces, I just didn't put them together. If you're expecting a heroic ending, there isn't one. I didn't save anyone, I didn't stop him. I was just another neighbor who didn't see what was happening below the surface. I still live on the same street. His house is empty now. The blinds are closed. The grass grows a little longer each week. Sometimes, late at night, I take the trash out and look at the basement door. There's nothing there now, just concrete and bad memories. But sometimes when a car slows down and someone looks at that house a little too long, I wonder if they knew, if they saw him somewhere, if they almost became part of this story too. Monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes they mow their lawns, they say good morning, they bring cookies. And you only find out what they really are when the sirens stop in front of their house.